Hi, I'm Kevin, the contractor CFO and COO, and welcome to today's video where we're going to go over project costing. You probably kind of know what it is, but there's a couple things I want to make sure that you understand as well. So let's just get into it here. Before we get into project costing itself, just a little bit about who I am, just so you know why you should even listen to me. Contractor, CFO, and COO just means I want to help you make more money in your business. A lot of that's primarily through small business tax and accounting, so let's not overcomplicate this. A lot of it is tax planning and doing the actual bookkeeping every month and making sure you're on track with all of that. I'm an enrolled agent, so I can represent you before the IRS just like a CPA. I just took a different exam, and I primarily got into this just so I could help small businesses lower their taxes. And then I got wanted to start helping them just make more money overall and be more profitable, not just focusing on taxes, but doing all the other stuff as well. So we do proactive tax planning. Also, a former insurance premium auditor, so I have a lot of experience with the insurance audits and how to minimize your expenses there. Make sure you have all the right paperwork on file so you're not paying more than you have to. But yeah, let's get into it here. Project costing, there's kind of three main things. There's a labor cost that you got to do. There's payroll, and actually, I think this actually just skipped over what I really wanted to go over. So let's get out of this. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of next week's video already. All right, let's get back into jump back into project costing here. So we have labor costs. A lot of that's going to be through payroll. So if you have a payroll service, there might be ways of adding in specific projects. It would be more at the time card level. Sorry, I don't know if you can see me. Something else changed here. Okay, yeah, you still see me. But there's payroll, and a lot of the project costing would happen on a time card. So I don't know if you're using physical time cards and having to enter all that crap into your payroll, or if you're using like electronic time cards or something like where they can show up at the job site and punch in on their phone, like what job they're at, clock in and out, all that kind of stuff. So it's automated. That'd be the ideal thing. If you don't have that, I'd seriously consider looking for a payroll service that does have that capabilities. That'll save you so much time and energy when you're trying to implement project costing because then each employee is just automatically, as they're clocking in and out, or automatically project costing their own hours, and that's automatically feeding into the payroll system. So there's no additional data entry. It would just be a quick, review by your payroll person to make sure everything is tracking and looks right before it gets submitted to be processed and the paycheck sent out. It's mainly just tracking data, and then so yeah, you've got your payroll. That's one thing, tracking the payroll costs. But then you also have the labor burden on top of that. Those are things that are not some things may be run through payroll, but then you've got like just overall overhead, like your workers' comp insurance costs, your general liability insurance costs. If you're providing any type of like health benefits, any vacation time, PTO, that kind of stuff. I have a video from a couple weeks ago going over a labor burden calculator where it goes through an itemized list of all these different things that would add to your labor burden, but you need to make sure that those costs are being accounted for in your project costing so they can be applied against the project so you can see if you're actually being profitable on that job or not. All right, so there may not be a very automated process for that. That might be a manual process at the end of every month that somebody's going to have to go through and journal those in or just kind of manually enter in or assign those costs to each project. So you're going to want to have to look at that. Then you got all your subcontractor costs you got to deal with and make sure those are getting coded correctly. If you're doing that in QuickBooks, it's pretty easy to add that to each project, so that shouldn't be that big of a deal. And then you also have material costs. So sometimes you might be just getting large purchases for multiple jobs at a time and paying that bill through QuickBooks or however, maybe the vendor just sends you an invoice and you just pay monthly. But you need to make sure that you're allocating those materials to each project correctly as well. So that might be more manual entry, or you should be able to. A lot of suppliers know that people want to project cost. So you might be able to add a project or a job number, to each PO or whatever. So, but that's another layer. There's all these different layers that you got to make sure you're adding the right data into so it can all be aggregated in your accounting software. And then just general overhead. You have a lot of indirect costs. You might have supervisors, you might have warehouse space or office labor. There might be other things you can allocate to each project, just like an general like overhead allocation to each project that you want to be mindful as well. So yeah, these are just all the different systems you might have to look into and make sure that you're able to add the right data in. You've got your payroll system, you've got your accounting system, which might be QuickBooks, and then you got to make sure that you're getting your payroll system to feed that information into your accounting system, so it all gets like you can view your accounting system or QuickBooks as like the dumping ground for all the data, because once it's all in one system, then you can start manipulating it or adjusting or whatever. So it's important to get your payroll system synced up to your accounting system, so you're not having to do manual data entry. If your accounting system or if your payroll system doesn't have a way of like helping you map the data into QuickBooks, then find a different payroll service. Like they've got to be able to do that. ADP finally has that ability. I'm sure others do as well, but you got to make sure you're able to feed all that data into your accounting system. And then, like I said, there might be you have to book the accruals or do some manual adjustments at the end of each month or each week, however you want to do it. But there's probably going to be some manual adjustments that have to be made just because of the way the costs come in, and maybe they have to be spread out over a couple of different jobs or whatever. So you're going to have to actually have somebody competent in there that knows what they're doing, or maybe they just need to be trained on how to do it. So maybe I started with an office manager and they've been great, but now this might be a level above where they understand some things and maybe they can get some things to work, but maybe the manual data entry or adjustments, maybe they just need to be shown like how to do it and why it works. So if you need that, reach out in the group and the link in the description below, and there's trainings that we can do, or maybe you work directly. And anyways, I'm not saying you have to throw out whoever you have. They just might need some additional training and help, and they might be hesitant to let you know that they don't know how to do this. So it's way better to just be upfront and ask them if they're comfortable with it or if they know, and offer like, hey, even if you don't know, or even if you do, why don't you do this training here, or work? This person will work with you and help you figure that out, because you don't want to just throw somebody out if it's all it's going to take is an hour or two of training, right? So, but you want it done right, and you want to make sure, um, and you don't want to, you don't want to make somebody feel insecure about themselves, right? You don't want to say, "Hey, do you know how to do this?" And then they're going to feel pressured, like, "Well, yeah," because they're just afraid. All right. So just handle it well. Let them know you're not going to get rid of them if they don't know how to do all this project costing and manual entries, but you want to help them figure out how to do it well so that you have the right information in your business. All right. And then another key thing is just comparing the actual expenses of each cost to what you budgeted, what you bid on. Right. If you're like going way over on certain expenses, then you didn't bid it right, or maybe something changed and maybe there needs to be a change order, or maybe you need to try to renegotiate the contract or just take the loss on that and use that information for future contracts. So, but it's important to do the actual versus budget so you actually know if you're making money along the way, and having the right reports to be able to look at that and know if you're making money on it, or maybe you're just not billing. Maybe you need to catch up on your billing on the project, or maybe you've actually kind of overbilled it. And so maybe you know that you're going to have to start absorbing more of those costs, and it's going to look like or feel like more of a loss in coming months because you've already billed for all that. Maybe you've already spent some of the money, and then you still have additional costs coming out for that specific project. How to get more help? Join my free group for contractors. There's free resources and tools for your business. You can chat with other contractors in there, exchange ideas, work together in there, and there's free courses on tax, accounting, insurance, legal issues, whatever else you need in there. Link in the description below, and get back to work.